bonjour, hola, assalamu alaikum, hello. So today I'm going to talk to you about how to learn a new language. Okay, so first, the benefits is, if you didn't know already, it is so cool to speak foreign languages. There are so many benefits. You're able to understand a new culture, this new language. It's really like this portal to understanding the people and how they learn, and it's this incredible insight. But you're also now able to connect with people that you might not have been able to before because you didn't speak the same language. So you're now opening up this whole new communication channel. All right, so now we're ready to learn the language, but first we want to get into the right mindset. So first, I recommend you pick a language that you actually want to learn. I know, crazy, right? But I know a lot of times we think about a language that might be useful in the workforce because that's going to be a really big motivator when it gets a little bit more difficult as you go further along, and you might get frustrated at times, but you're then reminded of your motivation for learning the language. With that, I think you should also set goals or motivators to help you along. So maybe within the first couple of weeks, you want to be able to watch a series, like an episode, and fully understand it. Or within a couple months, you want to be able to have a conversation with a native, and maybe it's even a simple conversation, but you're able to understand and communicate with somebody else. Setting even smaller goals along the way can really help and keep you motivated in learning that language. Now we have our mindset in place. Now we want to look at some of the resources we'll need. So to start, I think probably the essential is having a notebook dedicated for the language you're learning. So me personally, I like to have cute little pens and a cute little notebook and all that, because it helps me stay motivated and know that I'm about to study language. I have all my cute stuff set up and I'm ready to go. But you can get a cheap little notebook to have all your thoughts in one space. Having different resources to turn to, so different websites, and I'll go more into this in a minute, but different websites, applications, even a workbook that might help, and YouTube. You can even create a playlist and organize it so any YouTube resources you think might be helpful, and just throw it into that playlist so you have it all in one folder in one spot. Also having a reliable translator. So I use this website for any French translation I might need. Making sure you have a reliable translator, or even getting an old-fashioned dictionary, can definitely help. If you're just stuck on a word, you flip through, find it real quick, you're good to go. Flashcards are also super useful. So I even cut mine in half so that I have more cards available, and write the word on one side, other side the target language or whatever. So you review them, and then you put them in piles of ones that you didn't get, and then you keep repeating those. For me personally, I like having the actual paper in my hands, but if you are tech savvy, you can use Quizlet. That's a great site that lets you create your own flashcards. There are other even apps out there online or on your phone. And probably one of the last resources I recommend is having vocabulary lists. So this is something that you can even create on your own, but having it all in one spot of different vocabulary lists is very helpful. All right, we got our mindset now mapped out. We got our resources ready. Next, we want to develop a routine. Creating that routine is going to help you stay on schedule. This doesn't have to be a crazy routine. You can literally set 30 minutes aside every other day. So maybe you do 30 minutes to an hour, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and make sure you stay consistent, because consistency is crucial. There are about 6 components that make up learning a language. So we have our vocabulary, our grammar, our reading, writing, speaking, and listening. These are some resources, some tips, some ideas, all of that to help you develop all 6 parts of learning a language. The first one I kind of mentioned already is having different websites and resources. So there are different applications for your phone that you can use, or even on your laptop or desktop. There's Duolingo, Rosetta Stone, HelloTalk, and BBC Ma France. The first one was with Duolingo. I don't recommend just doing applications as your only way of learning. Are a great addition. Duolingo, they also have a story feature. It's very interactive, and it even kind of tests you as you go to make sure you're following the conversation and you're contributing to the conversation. Plus, Duolingo is free. There's like Babelfish, Rosetta Stone. Rosetta Stone does cost money. You can get different trial versions, but they do have a live tutoring feature, which is pretty cool. You can attend like a mini class with other students online. There's a live tutor that will correct any of your pronunciation. This one I strongly recommend if you are learning French. It's called BBC Ma France. There's a interactive map and you can click on each lesson. They have the English and French subtitles, so you can follow along with these little video clips, and then they do ask you a couple questions at the end. There's vocabulary lists incorporated, all this stuff. It's one of my favorite tools. I geek out over this tool. A new one I've discovered is called HelloTalk, and I'm just starting out with this, but already I think it's very cool. You can text other people in different countries. You can text them in your target language, and they are a native speaker, and if they want to learn English or your language, then they text you back in your language. So if they had a grammatical error, you can correct the message and send it back to them, and then they can see. I'm excited to really try that out. Set your phone in your target language. I've had my phone in French probably since beginning high school because you're already used to the features on your phone. So it's a great way to learn some new vocabulary, and then you're constantly reminded of that language throughout your day. Journaling is another great way to practice your language skills. So maybe as you're going along, you rather do a journal devoted just to that language and do little daily entries, like I drank some coffee this morning or tea, I went to class or went to work, whatever, and then see your progression as you go. Podcasts are such a great tool. There are certain podcasts devoted just for learning a certain language, and then you go to more native speakers who are just doing their normal podcast, but now you're starting to get used to the language. I'll throw up a couple of my favorite here. I think these ones are awesome. They're great for really building your vocabulary up, and you're hearing native speakers. It's more just a normal conversation. So, plus the one with the little girl is so stinking cute. So I recommend that one a lot. Alright, music. That one's kind of like a given, but if you can listen to music from native speakers, that's a great way to learn, and you just throw it into your regular playlist, so then you're just constantly immersed in this foreign language. Plus you can then look up lyrics after to try to see how much you understood and all that. YouTube videos, another great resource, and some might say that the native speaker speaks too fast. Under the settings option, you can slow down the speed of the video, and then as you get more comfortable, you put it at normal speed and see how much you understand. Watching shows and movies in foreign languages, but my tip is use shows like some of your favorite series, because you already know the plot, you already know what's being said. Now you're putting it in that foreign language, so you're giving this context to the language, and plus now you're listening to the pronunciation of the word. So now with social media, there are so many different accounts that are specifically for learning languages. One of my favorite is French Words, and it's just like a daily French word of the day, stuff like that. Gringo Dictionary, which is for like Brazilian Portuguese. They do different expressions and all that, but following different celebrities or vloggers for your specific target language is a great way to see just how natives speak. You might learn new expressions, you can read the captions on their photos. It's a great way to, again, in your normal, everyday quotidien, again, your everyday life, you can see it constantly. That's the key, is to have as much immersion as you possibly can. I also recommend getting a tutor if you can afford it. Everything I've given so far is pretty much free, but I would say tutoring, you can even get, I'm gonna start trying out because I had a friend who uses this. It's called italki, and you can get virtual tutoring. There are some that do it for as low as like €7, so $7 or $8. You can just have a conversation or actually have classes with a native speaker. I think that is such a crucial thing. I know I tutor for French and English, and I see such an improvement by just having those native interactions to really help you improve your speaking skills and your listening skills and all of that. And when you're learning new vocabulary, so maybe you've studied your list of vocabulary, used your flashcards, all of that, at the end, it's not necessarily enough to just have the words memorized, but really try to place them in context. So maybe write out a few sentences, really including those words. Maybe write a story, so you're really connecting all the dots and putting all the vocabulary to use. You can also use games and drawing. It doesn't have to be just like a kid thing to do, but whatever your learning style is, try to take advantage of that. So if you're very visual, maybe drawing out different stories and creating like cartoons and all that, it really can help. Another tip I have is for community. So rather you get connected with others who want to learn languages. I know one of my favorites is a group called Shut Up and Go. There's a Facebook group, and it's a lot of travel, learning languages, all that kind of stuff. And it's a great way to find like-minded people. There are even people that you can get connected to who want to practice their English or your native language, and then they will help with your native language, kind of like creating this pen pal system, kind of fun. Or learn with a friend. Maybe you have like a roommate or a friend who is also interested in learning. That's a great buddy system to really keep yourself motivated and make it almost a competition. Use each other to practice and to test each other on vocab, and even have conversations with each other in that target language. Alright, this one might not be super accessible to everybody right now, but immersion is so important because you're getting that constant everyday use of the language. It really helps build and develop your language skills. So if you're able to study abroad or even take short trips, especially if you live in Europe, for example, or maybe even aupair, which is like a nanny position. So you might be helping them learn your language for the children, but then you're also, because you're immersed in that culture, that lifestyle, you're also picking up that language. Right, and then for fun, maybe if you really like cooking, try out a recipe like in a foreign language, or even like a certain one from that country or culture, and try to make that using just their language and see if it turns out well. I hope those were all really helpful and you're able to learn your foreign language. Let me know below what language you're currently learning. Have you used any of these tips, or what would you add? I'd like to discover them as well. I know I have such a passion for learning languages. I am getting back into my Arabic. Thanks for watching. Merci. Au revoir. Shukran, ma salama. Gracias a Dios. Danke. Tschüss.